This week, we have a question from a listener whose name is Stefanie. Stefanie wrote in and said, I did an open house for an agent in my office. We don't partner and I'm not on her team. I just did a regular open house at her listing. After the open house, she asked me to share the sign-in sheet, including contact info for everyone that attended the open house. What would you do? Steph, that is a good question, and I've got some answers. Welcome to the Savvy Agent Podcast, where we help real estate agents build a thriving business so they have financial freedom in their life without having to work 24/7. I'm your host, Heather Wright. Now let's get to it. Stefanie, when you asked me what would I do in this situation on whether or not I would share the sign-in sheet from the open house with the listing agent, my first response is, well, I would tell her to fuck off. But that's also 12 years of experience talking there. If I were brand new, I probably wouldn't know any better. And so I might just think that's how it works. And I shared it. I'm going to guess that you're somewhere in the middle, because if you're asking the question, like, what would you do? There's probably a clue in there that it doesn't feel right to you. And it shouldn't feel right. So first of all, you did her a favor by hosting her house open. And I mean, she did you a favor by letting you host her house open. And so assuming you want to keep this relationship with this other agent, I would just tell her what you think. I would tell her, in my experience, this is not typical to share the leads from the open house. I wish that I would have known that beforehand, because I probably wouldn't have done the open house. And that's why I like to have everything agreed upon in advance. So she could have shared her expectations with you in advance. You will probably have PTSD over this forever, and you will probably always qualify an open house with, okay, and just to confirm, any lead that I get from this open house is a lead for me to work, right? You could also talk to your broker and see what your broker thinks. Maybe it is customary in your office, and I don't know anything about that. So if I were you, I would check with my broker just to make sure that it's not some weird office policy. And then I would talk to the agent and, just tell him, hey, what do you need these leads for? You never know. Maybe the seller is asking for proof that people came in. Who knows what the situation is? So get a little bit more clarification on what it is that she needs the leads for. Chances are good that she just wants the leads because she wants to market to them to get her listing sold. And I get that, but you could also, maybe you could negotiate it. You could always tell her to go to hell. You're not going to share anything. But you could also say, okay, well, there were 5 people that visited. Of the 5 people, I really connected with 2. And so I'm planning on working those people because that is the purpose of me hosting an open house. And I'd really rather not share that lead information with you. How about I keep the ones that I'm planning on pursuing, and then you can have the others. So you can give her the duds and you keep the ones that you connected with. And then moving forward, anytime I did an open house for somebody, I would always double check with them what their expectations are in advance. And that goes for everything, not just the leads that are going to sign in on your sign-in sheet. So that might be, if you're going to do an open house, whenever people offer to do open houses for me, I tell them, no problem. I will get this scheduled in the MLS, and that will feed to realtor.com and Zillow and all of the websites that people use to find out when open houses are. And then I will pay for the ad advertising the open house, because I want to make sure that as the listing agent, I control the marketing and the message that goes out to the community about the open house. I don't know what this other agent is going to say. So it's just easier for me to make sure that it does get marketed and that it gets marketed the way that I want it to be marketed. They can also market it. I don't care. But I'm not going to rely on that 100% as the listing agent. One time I was brand new. I had just started working real estate full time. So I was going to the office every day, but I didn't really have any direction or a purpose of why I was there. But, everybody says, if you want to be successful, if you want to make it in this business, go to the office every day. Those people are also all really old. And that was probably true in the 90s. But now that it's 2022, I'm not sure that has the same ring of truth as it did even 12 years ago. And even then, why was I at the office? There wasn't that much happening, but I did get experience from being at the office. So one of the things that I experienced was this agent. She asked me if I would do an agent tour for her. if I would hold her listing open for agent tour. And I was like, yes, of course. I would love to help you. Which was so cute of me, incredibly foolish in hindsight. I had no idea what I was doing. And when I was at the house, standing around waiting for people to come in, I was thinking, I don't understand why I'm here. Why did she not do this herself? Like she's treating me like her employee, and only real estate agents are coming to this. There's no people coming to this, no buyers or sellers. It's only real estate agents for an agent tour. So I'm pretty sure I just wasted 2 hours of my life. And sure enough, I did. So, lesson learned, Heather does not do agent tours for anybody else. That's a great example of how people will take advantage of you if you let them. Somebody asking for your leads that you worked for, maybe they have a good reason for that, but kind of sounds like, would you host my agent tour for me? It sounds like somebody is looking to take advantage of you. And you're smart enough to recognize this situation doesn't seem right. I need to figure out what to do. So I'm not opposed to helping colleagues out. One good turn deserves another, following the golden rule in life. I'm a big fan of all of that. But there's also a difference between the person who truly needs a favor and the person who is taking advantage of you. So next time, make sure that you are not in a position where you're being taken advantage of. Get those expectations up front before an issue happens. And you may not think about all of the possible outcomes. It's going to take some experience before you learn all of the right questions to ask. But I would nip that in the bud pretty quickly and tell them, no, I will not be sharing the leads. Well, I'd talk to my broker first. So talk to the broker, make sure it's not a normal custom. And then I would nip it in the bud and tell them, no, I will not be sharing leads. If you want to do an open house for that agent again, next time, just make sure you have that conversation up front. Hey, I'll do an open house for you on Sunday at 123 Main Street. Great. Thanks very much. And then clarify, just to make sure we're in agreement that any lead that I secure from this open house is my lead and you don't have any expectations of me to share that with you after the fact, correct? And then if they look at you funny and see an opportunity for them to get some free leads, well, don't do that open house. They have just told you who they are. Believe them and move on and find another listing to hold open from somebody who has a little bit more integrity. Stefanie, that was a really great question. Thank you so much for submitting that. And for anyone else listening, if you would like to ask a question and have your question and your answer featured on the Savvy Agent podcast, email me at podcast@savvyagent.co. Talk to you soon.